Hello, this is my screencast which will explain the interactive lesson that we've completed in class. This screencast is created for the simple reason if someone was to miss my class, they were able and not able to open up the smartboard presentation that is in the Blackboard. They'll be able to view this in the video and understand the content that was reviewed in class itself. Alright, so as you can see here, there are 6 parts to the design process as I've laid it out. The first one is site analysis, the second one green building systems, the next one is programming, then we have space analysis, bubble diagram, and the actual assignment that goes with it for this course. The first part here that we're going to go to is the site analysis. The site research should be already completed in the groups that were assigned in the course, in the class previously. This presentation was given after the group presentation, and the group presentation will review. Each group was given portions of the site analysis to complete. When all that stuff was completed, it should be shared into the into the group area of Blackboard underneath the file exchange so everyone can read that information. The next part here is going to be our site analysis itself, the diagram. As you can see, I started sketching some of the ideas on here. What you may wind up doing, for example, we have the red lines here, which is where the summer winds are coming in to the site. The blue lines where the cold winter winds. We have the sun, which arrives here in the east, sets in the west. We also have the idea of right out this way is areas of, that's a bad arrow, but right out this way is the Chesapeake Bay area. So now you have a lagoon here, a little inlet canal, and it heads right out, and right out over in this area is the Chesapeake Bay. So there's a very powerful view on the site. Students will take this information after having a opportunity to do this in class together. They will be able to create their own individual site analysis diagrams for use for their final project design and presentation. All the diagrams should wind up being pretty similar as they go forward. The next part here we're going to talk about is the green building systems. Green building systems are, there's two major classifications. One is an active system. An active system is a system that directly offsets the energy use of a building by becoming an alternative energy source. So for example, solar panels and windmills fit that classification. You can take a solar panel and install it on a house, and you're offsetting the energy you're pulling from the grid, but you're not using any less energy in your house. And that's where it's a little different than the passive system. The passive system will offset and reduce your energy usage. Sorry, not really offset, it'll reduce your energy usage. So what you're going to do is you're going to use something like a thermal mass, solar shading, or stack effect. The thermal mass is a simple idea in which you have a large masonry type unit or block. When in this wintertime the sun gets lower, the sun will go inside through the windows, and it will hit that thermal mass and warm it up. It'll then radiate heat into your spaces, which will keep them warm. In the summertime, when the sun gets higher, you'll use some shading there, a little bit of combination of solar shading, block the sun from coming in. That mass, if it's sitting on the ground or partially in the ground, will pull the cooler temperatures. I believe it's like 54 to 57 degrees for the Earth's surface, and pull that cooler temperatures in and cool the space. Kind of like your garage floor is cooler when the sun's not on it in the middle of summer, because it's just a slab sitting on the earth. So these principles are out there. They're very simple. They've been around for a long time. Next we have a video here, and this video is short, so we'll watch it real quick as I explain it. It is the solar panels itself. So you have a solar panels, they all come down to a combiner. The combiner then goes around to an inverter, and the inverter will allow the solar energy to turn, solar electricity turn into the house and power your light bulb. And if there's a lot of energy coming out, it'll actually go backwards through your meter and out to the electrical grid. At night, it's reversed now, because you're not getting energy from the solar panels, you're getting energy from the grid itself. The grid will now push the meter the other way and power the light bulb. All right, so our next slide here, I'm going to hit mute on, and we're just going to let it go for a second here as I explain. These guys are a little awkward looking, kind of funny looking guys, but the video here is actually included in the Blackboard shell outside, so you can go and watch this at any time when you feel free. I encourage you to watch this and go through it. In class, we have watched this video, so the students that were there do know this. This talks about the zero net energy, where you can use the passive heating and cooling of the thermal mass, solar shading, and stack effect to cool a building. So it's a really good explanation. I encourage you to take some time and look at that. The next step here is programming. Programming in architecture is the process of designing what you are going to put inside the building itself. The advantages to that is that everybody that's involved, if you sit down with an owner, a contractor, and an architect designer, you can sit down and figure out what you want to fit in there for a budget and get it pretty much nailed down the first time. So your design you can shorten the process, save everybody money. The emphasis here is really gathering the data early so that you can get through there, make good decisions early, and then get it all done right. And it's an efficient system in doing that. The more redesign, the more money, the more people are unhappy with the process, especially someone who may not be familiar with it. So you want to make sure that if you're going to do a project, if you're going to work on it, you're going to do some programming. For this course, we have programming already completed. For our project, we have a family of 4, husband, wife in their mid-30s, and 2 young boys ranging from 9 to 12. The background is that the owner's primary residence is in Washington, D.C. They have a formal, fast-paced life, and they're looking for a place where they can escape. They can go, they can fish, they can hunt, and experience nature and get away from the city. So they're going to do a 1,000-square-foot cabin, and you're going to choose your own style. Now, you've already researched some of these styles earlier in the semester. Now we're going to put them to use, or you can pick another style that's in the area or go out with your own mix of elements. So this is your own time to be creative. Inside this house, you're required to have a great room with a fireplace, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen, a laundry room, a porch or outdoor space, and they desire an open floor plan. So it's your design. You can do a 1-story, you can do a 2-story. You can overlap spaces and use them so that they share, and as you go forward. It's important that you consider the opportunity of using the green design concepts. They're not required, but being that these families looking for nature, I encourage you to look into that and see what you can do to make it work. All right, the next part of this presentation is understanding the different types of spaces you have. Like we talked about the programming, you have multiple spaces inside here. But there's different classifications. So you have spaces like the public spaces. When someone comes to visit you, if you're having guests over, where do they go? They go to those spaces are considered public. Now, people that come in, your immediate family members, they have spaces they'll go. And maybe the public doesn't. Those are called more private spaces. And then there's also spaces that some people consider to be more public, some people not. They could be shared, it could be unshared. It's up to your determination how you want to do that. So our next slide here is a little bit of a game that we've played in class. And you can see all the rooms that are on our program are here laid out. So in class, we were able to take these rooms, like the laundry room. And what is a laundry room? Is it public or private? It is a private space, so we can put that in there. Outdoor space, public, bathroom, private, master bedroom, private, great room, private, bedroom, also private. So the last space you have left is the kitchen. Is the kitchen a public or a private space here? The kitchen can be considered either or. At times when you're entertaining, you may have more public, people in and out of there. But at times when you have to clean it, when it's a mess because you entertained, it may want to be more of a private space. So it's something to consider. That can be a semi-public, semi-private, whichever word you want to use to describe it, so it may fall in between there. So you want to understand different spaces and what they can fall into. The next step we're going to work on here, after you understand all that stuff and we have our diagrams, we're going to create a bubble diagram. The bubble diagram, and I actually have a link here to some examples, and I'm going to open it real quick, I hope. All right, maybe not. It's decided not to work. But there, now it's working. Now the bubble diagram, I have a great link here to some professional architecture bubble diagrams that were used to show people examples. So in this one here, you have the open floor plan where you have the kitchen, great room, and dining room all together. You have a garage and utility space. People coming into the garage can get immediate access to the kitchen. And you can see the entry and the stairs are up front. So you can see how the hierarchy and how the determination of the spaces are set up. Now when you go forward, you have your kitchen, great room, dining room. They maneuvered things a little bit. Dining room becomes a little bit more off the center, but now you have the optional nook to create those spaces. As you go through here, I'll go a little slow. You can see the different hierarchies, the different setups. They added a study here, a little bit more private. They added a little more rooms here, so everything's a little bit different. But they're good short examples where you can stop this video anytime and look at these. But there are all sorts of examples for you to see. And you can see they have some brief explanations in here as well of how this would work. And this one, now they moved the master suite to the first floor. All right, so back to the presentation. What we did in class next is I gave people the opportunity to come up and create a quick bubble diagram on the smartboard. So as you can see, I'm just moving these around real quick, and using the information that I kind of went over earlier. We know that what's going on? Okay, we know that we want the open floor plan. Kitchen and great room are next to each other. We know we have views coming out this side over here, so we left that open. Master bedroom, we gave them the opportunity to have some views, where the kids' bedroom, not so much. So this is all just kind of a quick little sketch on how we can make this work. And the students have got a chance, opportunity to do that. So this is an example of how you can use the bubble diagram. You may also want to use what was done in the example, the professional example, and use some colors. Put some colors in there and show the different zoning of the private versus public and stuff like that as you go forward. So for our next thing here, we actually leave the assignment here at the end, and it says sketch 3 different bubble diagrams using this site as a background and your site analysis underneath that. And think about how you may be able to utilize your green building systems, your private and public rooms, and create the diagrams. Vary your hierarchy. If you create that bubble diagram and the view is the most important thing, then it may be similar to the one I just created. Now, if you create it where you're trying to be more energy efficient and not let the winter winds come in against glass walls looking towards the view, those rooms may be totally different how you're going to lay that out. So I want you to think about that as you're doing your bubble diagram and think about different ways you can lay this out. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope it helped you learn a little more about the design process. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, as my contact information is right here in the Blackboard shell. And I appreciate your time.